Okay, currently we are working with Java servlets, right? We are discussing about Java servlets. If your program or if your project is a small scale project, you can come up with the solution with only one servlet, right? But if you are working with a large scale project, you have to have more than one servlet. Then there should be a specific way to communicate with each other. I mean, sometimes you are requesting something as a client from the server, then server will process on your data and create a result. Then your result should be sent back or sent again into another server, right? To do then you should have a specific way to communicate or send data from one servlet to another servlet, and finally from the final servlet creating a single result and again send back to the client, right? To do that, in this case, I introduced a method called request dispatch, right? Using this interface, we can send some data as a client, right? First number, second number. And once you submit this one, we'll send a GET request to the server with the name of act, right? In the web.xml file, we specify this URL, right? See, uh, this is the URL pattern /add. Then this is the respective servlet for this URL change, right? Then this servlet will be executed from the server side. In here, we are getting two parameters, number one and number two, which are coming from this input form, right? Then we can perform some operation. After that, we are adding 100 more value, 100 more to this calculated sum, right? To add more value, more 100 value to the calculated sum, I have implemented another servlet. We call it as add more servlets, right? Uh, then in this section, we are accessing or we are getting the sum, the value which is coming from this servlet. In here, we are creating a request dispatcher object here, and we are changing the URL, and also we are adding an attribute, new attribute to the previous request, right? To the previous request, we are adding a new attribute. The name of the attribute is sum, and the value of the attribute is sum itself, right? Then we can forward our request from this servlet to add more servlet using RT, the request dispatcher object dot forward method, right? In here, we can catch this value which is coming from this add servlet, and we can extract it from uh, it we can extract it from this request object by using get attribute function, right? Then we can store it inside this variable. After that, we can calculate the final result. We can access to the data which is coming from this add servlet, and we can add 100 more to the calculated value. Then we can come up with the final result. Then we can print this result inside. We can print our result on your browser or the browser from client side, right? Then we can create a print writer object, and we can send our result as a println command, right? Once you run this one, let me try to run this code, and this one, run this one. Make some changes to the input value, and when I submit this one, I can come up with this result, right? We are sending 3 and 6, it is 9, but I got 109 as the final result. The reason is in this servlet, it will add 6 and 3, 9. Then 9 will be sent to the Atmos servlet from this at servlet, right, as a new attribute. Then we can catch this 9 from this Atmos servlet and add 100 more to the previous result and come up with the final result. Then final result will be displayed on the browser, client side browser, right? That is the reason why you got this result, right? I hope you have understood the practical implementation of request dispatcher. Let me try to get a sketch diagram about this one, right? In this scenario, we have client side, client computer, right? We have two servlets, servlet 1 and servlet 2. You are requesting two numbers to add two numbers, right? You are sending request 1 and response 1 object. Respond 1 object. In this request 1, in this example, we have added two numbers, number 1 and number 2, which are 3 and 6 inside the request 1, right? After that, inside the servlet 1, we will calculate 3 plus 6, 9, right? Then we are redirect or we are request another servlet from this S1 server. Then servlet 1 will directly call or directly send their data to the servlet 2 and perform some operation inside the servlet 2. Then the servlet 2 will send the final result to the client. The special case in this scenario is here we are using same request and response object, right? Request 1 and response 1 object is sending from client side to server side, and it is used by the servlet 1, and same request objects, request 1 and response 1, same object is using from by servlet 2 as well. After that, servlet 2 will send the final results to the client side as the same object, response 1, right? That is the thing happening inside request dispatcher. Request dispatcher, right? Then we have another, in this case, there are specific thing. This client don't know from where we getting final result, right? Because we are requesting our result from servlet 1, but final result is produced by servlet 2, and servlet 2 will send the result directly to the client, but client don't know from where we are getting data, right? This is suitable for only one website. Let's say you are going to buy something from online store, let's say ebay.com, right? ebay.com. Then you are going to pay some value. Then you have to have access to a payment gateway, a separate website, right? Let's say eBay and PayPal. Both are two different websites, web domains, right? Then this request dispatcher is not suitable for these types of client requests, right? Then we have to think about one more option for these types of scenarios. Then we have another method called send a redirect. Send redirect, right? Inside the send redirect, what happens is, as a client, you can request uh, something from a servlet. Let's say this one is belongs to ebay.com, right? You are requesting something from servlet 1, server 1, right? Then you are using request 1 object and response 1 object. Then once you are going to buy something, or once you are going to pay something to the website, then you have to redirect or you have to access to the separate web domain. Then this servlet 1 or server 1 will inform you to redirect to this web domain, right? From servlet 1, you are getting response 1, response 1. Then again, you have to send another new request object to the servlet 2. This time, you are using separate or brand new object, request 2 and response 2. Let's say this one is belongs to PayPal, right? Then this S2 or servlet 2 will perform some operation and come up with the final result and send to the client. In this time, we are using a separate response object, right? In this scenario, it is using, in this case, the first scenario, request dispatcher scenario, it is using only one object, right? Client will request something from servlet 1. In that time, it is using request 1 object and response 1 object, then perform some operation. Then the remaining operations are available in the separate servlet. Then servlet 1 will send the same object to the servlet 2 and come up with the final result and send it back to the client side using the same object. But in this case, client 1 will request something from servlet 1, right? Using request 1 object and response 1 object. Then you have to redirect. Then servlet 1 will inform you to you have to redirect to a separate domain. Then servlet 1 will send another same response object to the client. Then again, client have to request to the second servlet by using a brand new object, right? Request to object and response to object. Then perform some operation and come up with the result. In this case, the first scenario, client don't know from where you are getting the final result. But in this case, second scenario, the client is know where you are getting this final result because client is requesting to the second server itself, right? In this case, the second server is requesting by the servlet 1. But in this case, the second servlet is requesting by the client. Now client know from where we are getting the final result. That is the difference between request dispatcher and send redirect method, right? Request dispatcher and send redirect method. This is the main difference between request dispatcher and send redirect. Let's try to implement this one, send redirect in a practical scenario. Okay, for the send redirect, I have to make some changes to here. I will comment out this code line. This is used to request dispatcher, and I can say response dot send redirect. Then here I have to pass the new URL. What is the URL of the for the second servlet? Admo /admin. Then I can say here admin, right? Then we can catch this value from here. For now, before moving to the complex part, I will comment out this line and put a console message. System dot out dot println. This is from Atmoservlet. Let's try to run this one and see what will be the output. I will save these two changes and restart the server. Restart server again, and I can go to the browser and import two numbers and submit. You are not getting anything on your browser, but see the URL is changed, right? URL is changed, and also you can see a console message here. This is from Admo servlet. What it means? Once you submit, it will call this @servlet class and perform some operation. Then change this one, change this value, right? Change this or change the URL and call this server. That is the reason why we got this console message, right? But then we have to catch this one, catch this value, or we have to extract value coming from @servlet after @servlet, right? Then I will remove this one and say I can say int data equals request dot get parameter, request dot get parameter. Then I have to give the parameter name. Let's say num, sorry, sum, right? Previous case we are using the word sum for this as the attribute name, right? But this will show an error. Let's see this mismatch. Right, this one will create an object. Then I have to change this one to an integer value. Then I can use integer dot pass int. Pass int, right? Then I can perform the operation int result equals data plus 100. Then I can create a print write object. Equals response dot get writer, then out dot print ln. Then I can say final result. Can append the final result here, something like this. Then I'll save my changes and go back to the web interface. Then submit. Then we'll make an error. But see, your URL is changed correctly. Then let's try to change this URL in this way. Question mark sum equals, let's say 10, and press enter. You're getting get a result, right? Let's say in this scenario you enter 5 and 4. Then what is the addition of this one? 5 plus 4 is 9. 9 is generated by this servlet @servlet. Then your URL is changed to the @more. Then in this case, you have to add 100 to the previous result. It means you are finally getting 109, right? But once you submit this one, it will make an error. If I change this URL manually in this way, you can get an answer. What is the reason? In this case, we are not passing any value from first servlet to second servlet, right? But we are trying to get value from this parameter. That is the reason why it will show an error as a null pointer. Then what we can do is we can change our URL from here, right? I can say add more question mark, then some, sorry, yeah, some equals, then I can append my previous result here, right? Once I save this one and go back to my interface, right? Then try to apply some value 7 plus 5. Then when I click submit, you can see the URL is changed and also you are getting the correct answer here, right? Here we are appending or we are redirect. We are changing the URL. We call this scenario as URL rewrite, right? Right. This is the second method. We can use more than one servlet for a specific project. First one is request dispatcher. Second one is URL rewriting. There are two different methods, but two different scenarios. In request dispatcher, it is using a single object, request object and response object, and also the client don't know where you are getting the result, right? But in redirect or URL rewriting, client know from where you are getting, because client know your URL is changed and you are redirected to a separate website, separate domain, right? This method is more suitable for if you are working with more than one domain. This URL rewriting is more suitable. But if you are working with the same domain, request dispatcher is this method can be used for your scenario, right? That's the story or the scenario of URL rewriting and request dispatch. Then there are two different ways, uh, two more different ways we can use. We can work with more than one servlet in server-side programming. Another method is session management and cookies. We will move to the next topic. Right, now we can move to the next part, HTTP session management. Actually, what happened here is, let's say you're, you're working with two servlets, right? In the same server, right? You are the client, right? You are the client. Then this is the server. Inside the server, you have two servlets, let's say S1 and S2, right? They are requesting something from server. Let's say add two numbers, 5 plus 7, right? Then servlet 1 will be execute and perform some operation. Then we have more thing to do for this request, right? Then when you if you are using session management, HTTP session management, this server will create a session for you. Session. Inside this session, the calculated data values are stored temporarily. You can handle the lifetime of a session when you are coding in server side, right? You inside this session, you can add you can store this data temporarily. After that, if you are accessing to the second servlet, and you can give this data to the second servlet and finally come up with the final result and send it back to the client as the final result, right? This is the basic story of session management, HTTP session management. Let me try to uh, implement this one in practical scenario, right? In my add servlet, I have to remove this one because now we are not going to change the URL in URL rewriting way. Instead of doing this one, we can add or we can create a session. We can initialize a session and add our data or calculated sum into the session temporarily, right? Then I can create or initiate HTTP session here, HTTP session, then the object name, right? Then I can say request dot get session, right? After that, I can add this sum into this created session as an attribute. Session dot set attribute. Then I can give an attribute name. Here I'm using the name sum and value is sum itself. Right? After that, you are redirected to the second servlet. Right? I will save this one and go back to the previous case. And for now, I have to comment out this line, right? Then here also I have to create a session reference here using HTTP servlet, sorry, HTTP session interface. Session equals request dot get session. Get session, right? Then I can get this value or get this attribute value from here. I can create a variable here, data equals session dot. Here I'm using the word set attribute because we are set a new attribute into this created session. But in this case, we are getting something, getting the attribute from this session object. Therefore, I'm using the word session dot get attribute. Then I can pass the attribute name here, this sum. This one will make a new object here. Then I have to typecast it to a int value, right? Then others can we can keep remain as before, right? We are getting this sum from this session object as the attribute and typecast it to an integer value, then stored inside this data variable. After that, we can perform our operation and we can send our final results to the client side. Let's try to run this one and see what will happen here. I will refresh this one and enter two numbers 7 and 5 and submit. We can get the same result. If I change this one to another value, again we can get the correct answer. That is the thing happening behind HTTP session, right? Once you create a session inside the server side, a session is initiated for you. After that, we can add any attribute to this session object using set attribute, right? We can give a name for the attribute and we can give a value for this attribute. Then we can redirect to the another servlet using response.send redirect method. Once you get access to the second servlet, we can get all the saved attributes from this session object using the attribute name, right? Because currently a session is stored inside the server. We can extract some or we can extract required attribute from this session object and stored inside the normal variable, local variable. Then we can calculate or we can perform the operation and we can finally come up with the final result. That is the story of session management, right? Then we can move to the next topic. The final topic of servlets is cookies, right? Then I can go to the previous servlet, and for now I will comment out this line. I will share this all the codes with you. Then you can remove these comments and try this code one by one after that, right? Here, instead of creating a session, I can initiate a cookie. COOKIE, cookie, a name for the cookie, right? Cookie, the name for the cookie, and new uh, cookie. Then we can pass a name for the value and the value. Here I have to pass two strings, right? Here this is an integer variable. Then I have to convert this one to a string value by appending uh, a null string, right? Plus using plus operator, I can append something to this variable. If I pass an empty string here, this int variable is automatically converted to a string type variable, right? Then I can say, I can add this cookie to the respond object. Respond dot add cookie. Then I can pass the name of the cookie, this cookie, right? Then I can say, or I can redirect to the new servlet, right? That is the code, required code for first servlet, right? In this case, we are initiate a new cookie and given a name and the value. Then we can add the created new cookie object to the response and send a response to the client side to redirect to the second servlet. From the second servlet, I have to comment out this line again, this few code lines again. Then I can say, I can create a variable to hold the data coming from the cookie, right? There's a special case when you are using cookies, it will give the array of cookies, not only one cookie, but in this case, we are only just creating a session, and using the session object, we can extract these attributes. But in cookies, it is gives us the array of cookies, all the saved cookies inside the browser side, right? Client side. Then we have to create a cookie type array here, and we can say request dot get cookies, right? Then using enhanced for loop or normal for loop, we can extract those values. Enhanced for loop is more suitable for this scenario. Is C, then we can go through all the cookies inside this cookies array, right? Cookies. Right, then we can say if, then this will give the set of cookies here. This will give the set of cookies, right? Then we have to extract the required cookie from here, right? Inside this array, it will consist all the cookies stored inside the client side related to this web domain, right? But we have to find out what is the suitable or what is the required cookie from here, right? Then here we are setting a name for the cookie as well. Then using this name, we can extract or we can find out the required cookie from here. I can say c dot get name, get name is equals to dot equals the name of the cookie. Here I'm using the name of the cookie to extract the required cookie from set of cookies array, right? Then I can say data equals the variable name. Then c dot get value. In this case, we are getting the name of the cookie. In this case, we are getting the value. We can say c dot get value. Then this one will return a string value here. Therefore, I have to typecast it to a integer type. Well, integer dot pass int. I can pass here c dot get value. Right? After this iteration, I can return from this loop and perform the required operation. After this loop, the data from this cookie is stored inside this data variable. Then we can add 100 more to the previous result and print stored inside this result variable. After that, we can send our result to the client side. I will save all my work here and let's try to run this code and see our logic is working or not. Refresh my page. 9 and sum. I'm not getting any answer here. Let's see what will happen. Okay, now it's working. I accidentally import or implement return statement here. If I execute this one, this method will return from or this your code will return from this method instead of running this part, right? If I remove this one, or instead of using return, we can use break, right? Using break, we can just break the iteration over this for loop. If I use return here, the execution will be return or execute this function without returning or without execute this code lines. That's the reason why I never got anything on my browser. Now it's working. Again, go back and refresh and insert two different values here, 8 and 9. Then I can come up with the correct answer, right? That's it. That is the story of that is the practical implementation of cookies. Let's we try to explain this one using a diagram, right? In this case, the previous case, we are using session, right? HTTP session. The session is managed from the server side, not in the client side. But in this case, we are using cookies, right? In this case, we have a client. We have a servlet 1 and servlet 2. First, we are request or post a GET request from client side to server side. In this case, 8 and 9, right? Then perform some operation inside the servlet 1 and produce 17 as the answer. Then create a cookie here, cookie from servlet 1 here, right? Then added this 17 to this cookie, created cookie, and sent it to the client side, right, as a response. And in the client side browser, this cookie is saved, right? Let's say a Chrome browser, this cookie is saved. Then This servlet 1 is say to the client, you have to redirect to a separate servlet. The redirection or the URL is admo, right? Then client have to request to the second servlet, right? Once you creating or make a request to the second servlet, this request is going with this saved cookie, right? This second request is sent from client side to server side with this saved cookie. Then from the second servlet, we can extract data from this uh, coming cookie from client side, right? We can extract data. The name of the data value is sum, the value we can extract. Then perform some operation on top of this value and create a final result and send it back to the client side as a response, right? That is the thing happening inside the cookies, right? Here, see, you can see in this case, we are creating or initiate a cookie and stored the value with the name sum and the value. Then add this created cookie to the response and send it back to the client side with the redirect request, right? The redirect URL is admo. Then from the client side, it will send again a request to the server side with this URL and this cookie, right? From this servlet, Admo servlet, we can extract all the cookies into a cookies type array. Then using an enhanced for loop, we can traverse to this cookie array and extract the required cookie from its name, right? After that, we can extract. If you find the required cookie from this set of cookies array, we can extract the data from this cookie and store it inside the previously created variable and break the loop. Then after that, we can perform the required operation and finally send the final result to the client side. That is the reason why I got this answer from the client side browser, right? This is the story. This is the thing happening inside the cookies, right? Then we discuss four different scenarios. First one is request dispatcher, right? Request dispatcher. In this case, it is using same object for different scenarios. Same object for among different servers, right? It is used same object in say different servlets and finally getting the answer from the final servlet, but the client don't know from where he getting the answer. Request dispatch. But if you are engaging with more than one domain, let's say eBay and PayPal, then this request dispatcher is not suitable, right? Then at that time we can use URL rewriting, URL rewriting, right? Or we can use HTTP session, or we can use cookies, right? URL rewriting, we are changing the URL and send it back to the client side. Then client will request the updated URL updated URL server, right? In HTTP session management, uh, from the server side, it will create a session for us and stored inside in the server side for a particular or given time period, right? This session is temporarily stored inside the server side. This lifetime is limited. Once you access to the same website using the same browser and same network connection, then this session is stored inside the already stored inside the server side. Then this client can access to the session, the same server again without logging or without sending the data again and again. In cookies, the difference between session and cookie is sessions are stored inside the server side, but cookies are stored inside the client side. Once you request at the first time to a website, it will create a cookie for you. Then it will send back to the client side as the response with some partially completed task. After that, again, you are accessing to the same website. Then again, if you are send a request to the client side to server side, your request is sending from client to the same server side with this created cookie, stored cookie inside the client side browser. And from the server side, we can extract the set of cookies that are coming from client side to server side, and it will return the set of cookies, and we can store inside the cookies type array. Then we can using a for loop or any other way, we can go through all the cookies stored inside the cookies type array and extract the required cookie by using the given name and the value also. After that, you can calculate the required operation there, and finally, you can send the final result from server side to client side. These are four different ways we can use to working with more than one servlet in server-side programming, right? Then these are the things that I'm going to, I'm hoping to cover on Friday session, right? Then you can go through all the recordings before coming to the next Friday session. Then next Friday session, we're getting your first in-class assignment. It is a group assignment, right? It will be based on one of this topic, right? One of this topic. Therefore, go through all the recordings, all the shared codes, and all the notes shared with you through the LMS, and be prepared for the in-class assignment, right? You will getting a question based on one of this question, and keep in mind it is a practical assignment. Then at least one or two laptop computer is need for one group, right? Therefore, bring your laptops to the next Friday session. Okay, then I will share another video for the Monday session as well later on. Until that, we prepare for these topics before coming to the next Friday session. Okay, then we'll stop this video from here. We will meet on next Friday. Thank you.